Welcome to the Health Update. I'm Madison Kasper. Here with me is Dr. Aarti Raja, Mako Media's Health Adviser. Welcome, Dr. Raja.
Thank you for having me, Madison.
So, Dr. Raja, you just got back from India. You were working on 2 projects. What were those projects?
Right. So the 2 organizations I work with are Tiny Earth, and the second one is the Science Health Education Center. So Tiny Earth is a consortia or group of researchers that work together. Tiny Earth is based out of Madison, Wisconsin, out of the Wisconsin Institute of Discovery in Madison. But what it is it involves researchers from around the world who participate in the program along with their undergraduate students in discovering antibiotics or involved in scientific discovery, but doing it during an undergraduate student's career as a student.
So how exactly does that work? How does it impact the students and scientific discovery?
So Tiny Earth, what the Tiny Earth project does is allows students to look for these novel antibiotics. Can we discover new antibiotics by doing this research? And what that involves is looking for bacteria that are present in the soil. The soil has tons of bacteria that are present there. And the idea is, can undergraduate students perhaps find a new bacterium or a new microorganism from the soil, and could it perhaps produce a new antibiotic that we could eventually someday use in clinical practice? And because we all live in very unique locations, we're here in South Florida, which is very different from, the soil here in South Florida is likely very different from, let's say, soil that's around Boston, the Boston area. So all these students in different parts of the world are looking in their local soil to see if we can find new microorganisms, and do these new or old microorganisms produce new antibiotics. And that's the search that these students are engaged in.
So the second project you had talked about was the scientific health education. So what is that?
So this is another project. It's called the Science Health Education, or the SHE Center. And it's run out of Harvard Medical School and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston. And what this involves is, this organization, what they do is they currently predominantly work in what's referred to as the MENA region, which is basically the Middle East and North Africa region. And what they're doing is they're promoting science health education in perhaps some of these resource poor areas. Can we, as a group of researchers, faculty, women who are studying, women who are learning new things here, can we collaborate with people in these locations and kind of learn together what are the needs in the Middle East and North Africa region? How do we promote science education in these areas? Can we share our resources? What are the resources we can share? How can we learn about how they're doing science? How can we impart some knowledge about how we do science? So it's kind of this cross-collaborative project with the Middle East and North Africa region primarily. And what I am interested in doing is, since I've been part of this group, what I'm interested in doing is trying to figure out how could I perhaps take this to my home country, which is India. So I'm trying to find partner institutes that I can work with back home and engage in this science health education work, even in Asia.
So what impact does this project have on students?
One, you get to be involved in research at a relatively early stage in your career, which is your undergraduate student level. You get to participate in research. You get to learn how scientific research actually happens. The other impact is you're not isolated in your world. You get to interact with researchers and students from around the United States, for one, and also hopefully around the world. My goal is eventually for our students, for example, to communicate with students who are doing the same project perhaps in some other part of the world. And we have, being part of these organizations, there are conferences that they host. And I like to take my students to those conferences so that they can meet other students and other researchers from around the world who are doing a very similar project. So that's the impact it has on a student. I feel like it opens their eyes towards what are the other real issues out there in, of course, this is the field of microbiology in one case for Tiny Earth, or biology in general, and what is one question out there that really matters, and can an undergraduate student answer that? Can they contribute towards that scientific question? And I think being a part of that is a great opportunity for a student.
Thank you, Dr. Raja.
Thank you, Madison.
This has been the Mako Media Health Update. I'm Madison Kasper. See you next time.